The Galactic Council had made their final mistake. Alice Chen stood on the observation deck of the UHNS Prometheus, her reflection ghosting across the reinforced viewport as countless stars stretched into infinity. Behind her, the holographic display flickered with tactical readouts. 1,200 Council warships arranged in their traditional formation, confident in their numerical superiority. They had no idea what was coming. Commander Chen, Carson Matthews approached, his boots clicking against the metal deck. The fleet report's ready. Stellar incinerators are charging to full capacity. Alice didn't turn. She'd known Carson for 15 years since their days at the Academy on Mars. He'd been the idealist then, believing humanity could negotiate with species that had existed for millennia. The Council had beaten that optimism out of him, just as they'd tried to beat humanity into submission. "Tell me again what Ambassador Krethek said," Alice requested, her voice cold as vacuum. Carson's jaw tightened. He said humanity was an infestation that required sterilization, that our 100-year membership in the Council was a failed experiment, that our homeworld would be purged within the standard cycle. The Council had thought humanity soft. They'd watched humans for a century, seen their diplomacy, their art, their persistent attempts at peace. They'd mistaken patience for weakness, restraint for inability. The 15 elder races of the Council had fought their wars with honor codes established over 10,000 years. Limited engagements, minimal casualties, negotiated surrenders. Humans played a different game entirely. "Admiral wants your authorization," Carson said quietly. "Once we begin, there's no going back." Alice finally turned, her dark eyes meeting his. In the harsh lighting of the command deck, the shadows made her look ancient despite her 38 years. "They declared war on Earth, Carson. On humanity. They sent their fleets toward our homeworld where 8 billion people who had nothing to do with the Council's politics, would have been vaporized. I know. Do you?" Her voice sharpened. "The Vrextar claimed our colony on Kepler 442b violated their ancient territorial claims. The Zorthanian hegemony insisted our faster-than-light technology was dangerous and needed to be surrendered. The Celestial Dominion declared our very existence an affront to their religious doctrine." She stepped closer. "For 100 years we compromised. We gave ground. We played by their rules. And when we still didn't fit into their comfortable galaxy, they decided genocide was the answer." Carson had no response. He'd been at New Shanghai Station when the Council's peacekeeping force had opened fire without warning. He'd pulled children from burning wreckage. He'd held dying colonists who'd believed in the Council's promise of protection. "The authorization is given," Alice said. "Humanity tried peace. Now they'll learn why we stopped fighting each other." The Prometheus shuddered as its stellar incinerator powered up. Across the human fleet, 200 vessels, each equipped with weapons that made nuclear bombs look like firecrackers, prepared to demonstrate what an upstart species could accomplish in a mere century of focused research. Humanity had studied the Council's wars. They'd noticed patterns. The elder races fought with rules, with honor, with predictability. They announced their attacks. They avoided civilian targets. They fought to demonstrate superiority, not to annihilate. Humans had learned a different lesson from their bloody history. When threatened with extinction, mercy was a luxury no one could afford. "Enemy fleet is hailing us," the communications officer reported. "Admiral Threk demands we stand down and accept judgment." "Open channel," Alice commanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing the crystalline form of Admiral Threk, leader of the Council Armada. His species, the Luminari, had been spacefaring for 12,000 years. They'd never lost a war. "Human commander," Threk's voice resonated through the translator. "Your presence here changes nothing. Surrender your vessels and the Council may show mercy to your colonies." Alice smiled, a cold, predatory expression that made Carson step back involuntarily. "Admiral, humanity has a saying, fuck around and find out. You've done the first part. Allow me to demonstrate the second." She cut the transmission. "All ships," Alice broadcast across the fleet. "Execute Protocol Scorched Sky." The stellar incinerators fired simultaneously. The weapons didn't use conventional energy beams or plasma. Human scientists had weaponized stellar cores, miniature suns contained in magnetic bottles, compressed and directed with gravitational lensing. When released, they created temperatures exceeding the surface of most stars. The Council's shields, designed to deflect particle beams and absorb laser fire, lasted approximately 3 seconds. Carson watched the tactical display in horrified awe. Council warships, vessels that had patrolled the galaxy for centuries, simply ceased to exist. There were no explosions, no debris fields. The matter itself broke down at the atomic level, converting to plasma and then to constituent particles. 1,200 warships, gone in 40 seconds. Sweet, merciful. Carson couldn't finish. Communications from the Council homeworlds, an officer reported, her voice shaking. They're requesting negotiations. Alice pulled up the strategic map. Red markers indicated Council military installations throughout the sector. Yellow markers showed their industrial complexes. Blue markers identified political centers. Target all military installations within range, Alice ordered. The Council declared war on humanity. They wanted extinction. Let them understand what that truly means, Commander. Carson found his voice. We've won. Their fleet is destroyed. We don't need to, don't we? Alice rounded on him. They came to our homeworld, Carson. They were going to murder billions. They declared us an infestation. Her hand swept across the display. Every military installation we leave intact is a threat to our children. Every shipyard we spare will build the fleet that comes for Earth next decade. Every government we allow to survive will plot revenge. She leaned over the command console. Humanity didn't start this war, but by every star in this galaxy we're going to finish it. The human fleet advanced. Over the next 3 standard days, humanity demonstrated what happens when a species evolved through millions of years of competition, thousands of years of warfare, and centuries of technological advancement decides that survival trumps morality. The Council had studied human art and mistaken it for weakness. They'd observed human diplomacy and confused it for inability. They'd watched humanity restrain itself and thought they understood human limits. They learned the truth too late. When Carson and Alice finally returned to Earth, the war was over. The Galactic Council had been dissolved. The elder races had sued for peace, offering reparations, territory, technology, anything to make the humans stop. As their transport descended toward Geneva, Carson finally asked the question that haunted him. Was it worth it? What we became. Alice stared out at the planet below, blue and green and alive. 8 billion souls who would never know how close they'd come to extinction. They made us choose, she said quietly, between being good and being alive. So we chose life. She turned to him. And Carson? When your children ask you why humanity is feared across the galaxy, tell them the truth. Tell them we're not the monsters. We're what monsters create when they push too far. The Prometheus had returned to Earth orbit, its weapons cold but ready. Humanity had learned its lesson. The galaxy would never forget.